Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Today, with my teammate Hugo Gonzalez and me, your server, Joan Gomez, we are going to talk about the lack of financial education in the world. First, I will start with a question. What is financial literacy? This term refers to a lack of understanding and knowledge of basic financial concepts and principles, but this term means more of that. It can manifest in various ways, such as not understanding how to manage money effectively, not knowing how to create and stick to a budget to end of month or end of a year, and have a goal which budget you want to invest or to earn. Also, not knowing to invest wisely, or not being able to read and understand financial statements.
Hello, classmates and teacher. I will present the reason why in Mexico there is no financial education. The lack of financial education in Mexican population does not correspond to the lack of elements or tools for the development of information, but to the lack of diffusion that these have had to achieve an adequate scope and promote sufficient knowledge in people's lives. In the southern hemisphere, there are emerging economies, and it is where the products are produced, but is not where the main consumers of the products are.
The lack of financial education relapses in many countries of the world. Countries that are ubicated in the continent of Africa, the Latin America. If you see the orange numbers, refers to the lowest financial literate, and also that means that also in other parts, like countries like of Asia. In other words, it's important to have a perspective of where are as a country. If not, we couldn't know how we can develop the economy and beliefs. And if you see the darkest color, like over the 7%, the blue ones, like the north of America and the north of Europe, and basically some countries of Oceania. However, I'm going to explain why at schools don't teach about financial education. Well, the barriers of this knowledge depends in four causes. The first one is the curriculum prioritizations, and that means many educational systems prioritize core subjects such as math, science, and language arts over personal finance. Therefore, financial education may not receive as much emphasis in school curriculums. The second one, the lack of qualified teachers. That means that many teachers may not have the training or expertise to effectively teach financial education. The third one, limited resources. Schools may not have the financial resources. However, it's complex to invest in comprehensive financial education programs such as textbooks, materials, and teacher trainings. And the last one, perceived parental responsibility. Some educational systems may assume that financial education is the responsibility of the parents, and guardians rather than schools. That's the reason that the government needs to remodel different aspects of the educational system. And here is a graph that says some aspects that the teachers tell about why the financial education don't is teach it at school. And the most common, the over the 80% says that the prioritization of other subjects. The purple one that is 62% insufficient fundings, and that means that the limited resources that I said you. And the other ones, the less common, about lack of interest parents, and there are on where that is a statutory obligations. Well, here is the same graph that I said you, but to tell about more over the Latin America countries. If you see there are some countries that have financial literacy, and the lowest are like Argentina, Bolivia, Peru, and that countries nowadays have macroeconomic data with red numbers because they have a highest inflation rate and also a highest interest rate. And another things that we are going to talk about in the later slides.
In consequence, financial freedom, it's another indicator that we need to consider. However, once an investment is made in training for education secretaries, the education system change and the entrepreneurship is encouraged in schools, the financial freedom will be democratized. Why is there no financial education in Mexico? For example, only 49% of the Mexican population has a formal account in banking institution. In other words, most people believe they could lose their money.
Okay. The macroeconomic data say that many countries of Latin America have been in serious troubles with economic indicators. We don't have a solid financial education. So that means that can be a problem because the government will not give any modifiers to the educational system because that system have been used since the 19th century. So here is a little graph that says why the teachers think financial education is even somewhat effective. So the 35% says that somewhat is effective, and the middle, the rest of the teachers, that the 50% says that somewhat is ineffective, and the 16% says that is very ineffective. Here is a graph that says the numbers of the inflation rates in many countries of Latin America. Some of them is Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and Peru. And since 2021 has been growing. Nowadays in 2023 is, we hope that can be less the inflation rates because it can be in trouble, can be complex, the financial, the public financial budgets with all the society and the communities of the Latin America countries. And I said, the macroeconomic numbers have been growing also in the interest rate. If you see here in Mexico, Bolivia, Argentina, Venezuela, they have orange and dark red in numbers. It's a color like it's more than the 10%. Nowadays, the at starting of March, the Mexico interest rate of the Banxico shows 11% interest rate, and in other countries in Latin America had been growing. Also in the Asia countries like China, India, around the 5-10%. And the interest rate affects the budget and the debts and the leverage of the companies of many countries and the society.
Causes of the lack of financial education. I consider socialism. Creating socialist governments is limiting society to encourage companies to grow and slow down GDP per capita. Deficiency in economic development and marginalization and poverty. In final or conclusion, the solutions we proposed the investment plans, free conference or financial education, train teachers of financial educations, and changing the education system in Latin America countries.
And the macroeconomic data give us a perspective how we are as a country about financial habits and knowledge of business. Indeed, if we extend our financial knowledge in courses, books, etc., and promote it in our family, friends, social media, or economy will be developed. In other words, the inflation and other indicators will be balanced compared with other countries. And that's all for our presentation. I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for